Hey, what up, everybody? I want to chat with you basically what's been happening with interest rates. It's been a very interesting time over this last month. We saw interest rates really start to skyrocket and go up. This last week and a half obviously was a big blessing for our industry as we saw the jobs report came in a lot weaker. And then we got that inflation report data last week that came in much less than expected in every place that we possibly could. So that's some really good news. What I want to show you, what I want to chat with you just a little bit about is shelter costs and help you guys understand that, because this is 43% of that inflation report. And I want to show you how the government takes a look at it and why we're going to see inflation continue to come down on that report because of shelter. And so let me kind of back this off. If we take a look at this stuff here, when we really take a look at shelter, this blue line is what's going on in real time as far as rents in America or things like that. As you can see, in 21 and 22, as you guys probably saw with a lot of your clients and a lot of people out there, homes just kind of skyrocketed in rents. And this year it's come down a lot. And so the year over year, and especially real time, we just haven't seen as many rents in particular areas in the United States of America go up like they were going up because, due to low interest rates, COVID money, a lot of things inflating the market. The thing is, though, is the CPI report, the shelter report is a year over year report. So if you take a look at it, it lags super hard. And when it lags super hard, it just means that this is good news for us now, bad news for us over the last couple months because we saw interest rates skyrocket so much. We can see that it basically crests in the month of May and it's starting to come down. As you can see right now in real time, it's around 3.4% is what's happening with rents in America as far as those going up this year. The data with the year over year or the inflation report is at 7.8%. So the good news about this is as we continue through this year, we're going to see this crest and come down because you can see this blue line really took off and that CPI report went up and now it's on its way back down. So some good things here because that is 43% of that overall inflation report. So if that is that weighing on that amount of data, then the only thing here is we're going to see a lot of positive news kind of moving forward here. One thing that I want to point out too is basically the survey that was done this month on where money is being spent or what's happening in people's bank accounts or what's going on, right? So really what this data is showing here, if we kind of break this down, this is helping you understand the consumers here in America, where they're spending the money, what are they doing, how much do they have inside of their savings account. And this is a huge indication because this means that there's not a whole lot of spending money left. And so, with products being inflated, this means consumers aren't going to go pay those prices for those products anymore. And so now you're going to see products start to come down. Well, what does that mean? That means inflation has to come down in America and we're going to see rates kind of follow that stuff. So if you take a look at that, I thought this was very interesting. I want to share it with you. But as far as cutting back on non-essential purchases, Americans right now, there's 76% of Americans that have really cut back. Income continues to fall behind. 71% of Americans are behind on income as far as living expenses. If you take a look at credit card usages, last month is at 29%. Now it's at 36%. So just in 1 month, it's jumped 7%, which is quite a bit. Credit card debt also went up this month, up to 33%. And it looks like 40% of Americans, if they got hit with $1,000 bill in 1 month, they wouldn't know where to get that money from in order to pay that bill. So I thought that was very surprising. And then as far as cutting back or pausing for savings account, that makes up 48%. And so what this is kind of showing you guys here is that there's just not a lot of money in the market anymore. That means a lot of a lot of extra goods aren't going to be bought anymore. And that's why this inflation is going to come down. Let me kind of show you the chart so you guys can see what's happening with interest rates, especially over this week and a half. And we'll kind of break this down and I'll kind of hopefully predict what's going to happen maybe the rest of this month as we kind of look at the data. So again, if this is your first time here, green means interest rates are going lower, red means interest rates are going up. If we take a look at the, mortgage-backed securities on the 30-year, no, this does not. I get this question all this time. It doesn't mean rates are at 5.5%. That's just kind of where it's sitting right now of how they analyze this data. And how they take a look at it. So if we look at this, we've got these levels of support that we're taking a look here that we're really trying to break through or really trying to get through. What you can see here is we're kind of bouncing right now, but we've got, since those reports of last week, everything's gone a lot better. And this is why you've seen interest rates get a lot better as well. One thing that we've got to be aware of probably over this next week is the stochastics down here at the bottom. This is a reading that really predicts what interest rates are going to do. And we're following this black line. So as we can see, this black line is kind of crossed over. This means we're probably going to get in this bounce pattern for a minute. until we get a little bit more good news. We've got an inflation report at the very end of this month. Honestly, that is the rest of the news for this month. So what we're going to see probably over this next week and a half, is we're going to see this stuff bounce, probably like we're seeing here. And we're not really going to see it get worse. We're really not going to see it get any better until that inflation report comes out at the end of the month. And then at that point, we'll see interest rates get a little bit better one more time. So just for you guys out there, this one was more based around shelter. This was more based around what the CPI report is going to look like from here on out. I do know that next month, the inflation report's a little iffy from the year over year side of stuff. After next month, in the month of August, once we get into September, October, those inflation numbers there's going to be a huge difference on the year over year, and we should see interest rates continue to fall. So hold on for, maybe another 45 days here. Obviously, the great news about this last week and a half, is we're seeing interest rates back in the 6s with a buy down, especially FHA-VA. It's like we can get them back down in the 5s. And so rates are starting to come around, and that's what we need to start telling the consumers. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully you guys can share this data with a lot of people. And appreciate it.